been lit, boy. Everything goes.
We now return you to regular programming.
What is up, guys? It is a great day today with no sports for over the last how many weeks. We actually have something important happening tonight, and it's like a major holiday for us.
At the NFL draft, a lot of futures are going to be changed as of today, and it's also going to be a first as it's going to be an online draft this year. So I'm excited to see all the failures that might happen today. Hopefully not. I hope it goes well.
Well, the WNBA just had a draft, and they did it. They had their run, and everything worked out well. They had the highest ratings over their 16-year career as far as a draft.
They did their draft online.
Mm-hmm. And I just think
is that all in one day or is it multiple days?
That I don't know because I don't really follow it as far as their draft. But this is going to be 4 days of craziness.
I was listening to Mickey Loomis, the GM of the Saints, talk, and he was talking about how the weather tomorrow in New Orleans is supposed to be thunderstorms. So that all has to go into the thought when you're planning this out, because he was like, what happens if power outage goes out? We're supposed to have backup systems for this draft, and hopefully it works. But I think that's why you're starting to see a lot of, when you scroll through Bleacher Report and ESPN, I think that's why you're starting to see a lot of wannabe trades happen right now.
There's a lot of news.
Because I just don't think it's going to happen a lot during it. I think you're going to see just something happen where it just doesn't work right.
Well, we're both repping our gear. Like I put up on Twitter today, either I'm going to be a child who's happy he got Nikes for Christmas or upset because I got the 4-stripe Adidas. And we'll see what happens with the Cowboys when they pick at 17 and what the Saints do. A lot of rumors about the Saints trying to trade up.
Well, the Saints are a very, what's the word I'm looking for, very aggressive. That's the word I'm looking for, aggressive team as far as it comes to the draft. Every year that Sean Payton's been involved in the draft, not counting the bounty gates and everything where he was not allowed to do it, he has traded up in the draft. I've seen it every single year, whether it's the first, second, third, whatever round. Excuse me. So don't be shocked that the Saints trade up if someone is still available. There's multiple rumors saying the Saints could sit back and get a good receiver, could get a good linebacker, which is what a lot of teams have them going for. But if there's a quarterback that slips through the cracks, don't be shocked that the Saints trade up and draft him. Because like I said to you, I don't think Drew Brees is going to be here for 2 years.
Well, the interesting thing is they have four quarterbacks going within the first round, possibly. They have a lot of offensive tackles, big-name offensive tackles who are going to be on the move. Receivers, another big thing that's out there. You don't hear a lot about defensive ends. Cornerbacks is another big spot that's going on. A lot of takes, a lot of interesting news with Miami. Miami's trying to move up and get to that top spot so they can get a better. Well, what they're saying is they want to get an offensive tackle and then they want to pick up a quarterback later on.
I feel like I'm more intrigued to see what Miami picks up than anybody. Just because when you have a team who made a big splash this offseason, has 3 draft picks, believe in the first round, 2 or 3, those could be big changes to their team. If they get a good quarterback that can win now, if they get a good weapon that can win now, it's just, I love draft day, especially the first round, because usually your first round talent is the ones. I mean, don't get me wrong, you can get a lot of good mid-round talent. But first round, man, that could be some franchises' big cornerstones that come in and put a big change on those teams.
Well, you think about it. You have teams like Detroit who are drafting 3rd. You have Washington who's drafting 2nd. You have teams up there that could possibly stockpile draft picks, trade down, and then benefit from what they're doing.
That number 3 spot's a hot spot right now. A lot of teams are calling for that.
We talked about Washington before we came on the air. Washington, everyone has them taking what's his name, Chase Young. Mm-hmm. If they get Chase Young, that could possibly be the best defensive line in football. If you look at the pieces they put together over the last few years, they have Jonathan Allen, they have Chase Young, Daron Payne, Montez Sweat, Ryan Kerrigan. Tell me that is not a freaking amazing defensive line.
Could easily be a top 3 defense.
And what we discussed downstairs is we discussed about, getting Chase Young will be great, fine and dandy, but they have so many pieces that they need to fill offensively, defensively on the backside of it. If they would trade out of that pick, they could pick up and accumulate a lot of picks. Yeah. You think about it in 4 years from now when all these guys come off their rookie deals, it's going to be a lot of salaries to fill there.
I told you that I feel like Chase Young is just a talent that if you have the option, you can't pass on that. And if I was the Redskins, you have Trent Williams who wants to get traded. I think you take Chase Young, you trade Trent Williams for whatever high valuable pick you can get in this year's draft. And after Chase Young, you build receivers because there's a lot of good receivers that you can get in the 2nd round and 3rd round. A lot of good running backs you can get in the 2nd round. You build a good offense around Haskins. That's if they even still want Haskins to be the quarterback because we still have a big question mark over that.
But we were talking about quarterbacks, and I got this wonderful stat, and this is interesting. Over the last 4 years, 16 quarterbacks have been taken in the first round. After year one of the quarterbacks being there, 9 of the 16 teams fired their coaches. Kyler Murray, he was drafted. Kingsbury still is retained. Baker Mayfield, he got picked up. Hugh Jackson fired. Jared Goff got picked up. Jeff Fisher fired. Jameis picked up. Lovie Smith fired. Trubisky picked up. John Fox fired. Wentz picked up. Peterson still retained. Mariota picked up. Ken Wisenhunt fired.
And Mariota's gone.
Darnold picked up. Todd Bowles fired. Daniel Jones picked up. Pat Shurmur fired. Josh Allen picked up. Sean McDermott fired. Josh Rosen picked up. Steve Wilkes fired. Mahomes picked up. Reed's still there. Haskins picked up. Jay Gruden fired. Watson picked up. O'Brien still retained, which because he's the GM, let's face it. Paxton Lynch picked up. Kubiak wasn't fired, but he retired.
Paxton was nothing.
And then the last quarterback we picked up was Lamar Jackson, and Harbaugh is still there. So there's a lot
can you
of
blame?
different quarterbacks.
I don't know if I agree with that stat. It's just that. Can you? I mean, take Hugh Jackson for instance. He was the coach of the Browns for a while. They were struggling for a while. I think he was on the hot seat. You know, you get a good quarterback, and I think while they were getting that quarterback, in their heads, they're thinking, we don't even know if we want Hugh Jackson to be the man to lead this young team. I think what sucks is you get a lot of these good young quarterbacks in the league, and this is my thing. I think it takes players more than 1 year to develop into superstars, and I think that these owners have such a quick trigger finger to pull the trigger on these coaches. I get that some of these coaches suck. Hugh Jackson, for example, wasn't the greatest head coach. He had a lot of options, a lot of years with with the organization, with the Browns. I get that situation, but there's some coaches, who might be newer. Take the Giants, for instance. They get a new quarterback. Yeah, they weren't the best. Give him a second year, see what he does. Maybe get a new offensive coordinator in there with him. Get some pieces. I think that they're too quick to fire these guys.
And what's funny, this is another interesting stat, too, about the first round, because the first round is really important for the teams. And, this is where these are almost, when you pick in the first round, these are your guaranteed starters. These guys are going to go on the field, they're going to make an impact, and they're going to play. Over the last 10 years, 32 of the possible, 320 first-round picks, there are only 32 of them ever made a Pro Bowl their rookie season.
Wow.
That's crazy.
I mean,
you think of all the good
talent. Is it common for rookies to make? It's more common for rookies, I feel like, that Rookie of the Year award to really fight for it. I mean, is it common for a lot of rookies to go to the Pro Bowl?
I don't know. It's a stat. And for all you Dak lovers out there, no, in the basement, Dak Prescott is the only fourth-round person in the last 10 years to make a Pro Bowl.
That's awesome, though. What about Alvin Kamara?
No.
But they went to a Pro Bowl, too, actually.
But we're gonna do something fun tonight. We're gonna actually gonna
called you out on it.
We're gonna have some of our friends come on, and they're gonna talk about their teams and see what they're hoping they pick up, and see what I don't know. I don't even know. My mind's 100 miles an hour right now.
I'm curious to see exactly how the quarterbacks go out in this draft, because my biggest player that I honestly personally want the Saints to draft is Jalen Hurts. I was talking to you this before we came on the podcast. I think 30 touchdowns, over almost 4,000 passing yards. Who would not want that quarterback? I don't know why he is not being talked about. I don't know if it's because he's not that big, but this guy, good in Alabama. Obviously, he got benched that one game, which led him to transfer to Oklahoma. Did really well at Oklahoma, and can even be a dual threat with his legs. This guy's work ethic is really good. I mean, you've seen that after a win, he's in the gym with his pads on working out. That's a guy that I want on my team.
Well, New England is one of the teams that have openly come up and said that they want to get Jalen Hurts. They don't say when they're going to go after him. I don't think he's a first-round caliber player, but they're saying they want to get him and they want to pick him up and use him identical to what Baltimore's doing with Lamar Jackson.
My thing with that is if I was Jalen, I would be like, I don't want to be Lamar. I want to be Jalen. You know what I mean? I don't think you can't. I mean, take this, for instance. Imagine the Yankees were like, we want to draft Glaber, and we want to make him a Derek Jeter. You know what I mean? Like, let the guys be their own guys.
I'm sure he's not thinking that. I mean, I'm sure he's just thinking, I hope someone picks me up today. And the nice thing about Jalen was he was interviewed today by the NFL Network, and on the background he had a placard up on his wall of his name with the Dallas Cowboys logo on it.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, I
That's
saw
awesome.
that.
But some of the news that's going on right now, the Miami Dolphins are actively looking to move up. They want to move up with Detroit spot, and they're looking to keep their their number 5 pick. They want to have the 3rd and the 5th to pick up an offensive tackle, and they want to pick up a quarterback.
There's a lot of teams looking at trade. I don't know if I've ever seen a draft where there's so many teams trying to trade up at once.
But Miami is talking with Detroit, and they're talking about giving up their later 2 first-round picks if they can move to the 3rd spot. I don't know if that's going to happen. There's a lot of teams that are actively going after Detroit. The Jacksonville Jaguars are another one. They have them trying to get up there to get Justin Herbert.
Another thing, too, is Tua. All week, everyone's talking about Tua's going to falling out of draft boards, dropping out of draft boards. And now there's a lot of rumors. Jags are pushing after him. Vegas is now pushing after him, the Raiders. I think a lot of teams are lying. You know what I mean? They're trying to doubt him, and just so that they can get that pick themselves.
Well, 3 teams came out openly and said that they dropped Tua T off their board because of medical. Now, Adam Schefter is reporting Stefania Bell reached out to the actual doctor that actually looked over his physical, the only independent doctor that did his physical work, and he said Tua's x-rays and everything look great. His hip looks better than it did before he even got injured. He healed fast, it looks fine, and he's good to go. He got a clean bill of health. I think a lot of these teams, like you said, are saying this so it loses interest, and hopefully he slides down in the draft.
Yeah. I'll be very disappointed today if I watch the Saints draft Love. I think I'll cry a little bit. It's not that, and it's not one of those situations where, say, like Love becomes like a very good quarterback for the Saints, and I'll praise him. I'm not saying I don't like him. It's just there's better options, I feel like, in my opinion. But
there's I was listening earlier, and one of the teams that New England are talking about working with is the 49ers because, they worked hand-in-hand with the whole Garoppolo trade, so they're having a feeling that San Francisco would give back to them and help them work their way up to get a quarterback. There are reports out there that New England could be trading to the 13th spot to pick up Tua T, which, if he's still there, would be great. I don't know if he's going to be there. It's all going to depend on whether Justin Herbert goes before him or not.
I like Herbert.
Another option is that Love that they're talking about, too, as well.
17 interceptions last year.
Yeah, but the last mock draft that I've seen, it shows San Francisco either getting Ruggs or CeeDee Lamb, which would be huge.
And now we just did hear that the Eagles are in a possible trade where someone who I forget what team it was, Noah said, but that team would draft a player for the Eagles would draft their player, and they would just swap.
Yes.
And the Eagles would get Lamb, I believe it was.
Yes. I'm trying to look right now.
Who's our first caller going to be today, by the way?
Probably Adam Miller.
All right, I'm excited.
The team
this morning was obvious. The Bengals came out and confirmed the fact that they're drafting Joe Burrow. That's a definite now. I mean, obviously everyone thought this was going to happen, but today it came out and they basically just made it official.
He is the Ohio hometown boy. It's going to be a good fit for him. He is going to have some kind of weapons. Joe Mixon is talking about holding out for a better deal.
A lot of people too think that he wants to get traded after this. If I was him, he could be the potential turnaround that city needs. Why not? Why would you not want to be that guy?
I mean, they have a good receiving core there as long as A.J. Green can stay healthy.
They got John Ross. They got A.J. Green if he stays healthy. They got Boyd. Joe Mixon's a good running back. He's averaged over 1,000 yards every single season.
And Boyd's filled that void since A.J. Green's gone down. He's a good receiver.
They lost Eifert, I believe, though.
You think he's a free agent? No one's picked him up yet.
But
so and there's options out there for tight end. So, I think he's going to do well there. I mean, as long as he, gets the protection that he needs. And, I'm sure they have a lot of cap space. They haven't been good in the last couple of years. They have, I don't know how many draft picks they have, but it'd be interesting to see if Joe Burrow, if he does take the deal because he is from Ohio, or if he does like an Eli Manning and say no way, because he still does hold the power. He doesn't have to sign any kind of deal.
I would love to play in my home state.
You're the number one pick, man. You're guaranteed money.
Yeah, I would like to. I like watching the second and third rounds too. As much as the first round is obviously the most intriguing, second and third rounds you could really find some gems. That can really shine for your team. I mean, I've seen it with the Saints multiple times. You've had Alvin Kamara, fourth round. You've Anzalone, who was a, I think, fifth round guy. Look, linebacker, great for us. There's lots of options out there.
Well, since I am a Cowboys fan, I'm going to talk about some of the mock drafts that I've seen on the Cowboys. A lot of them haven't taken the safety from Alabama, McKinley. They haven't taken C.J. Anderson, and they haven't taken that Chazon from LSU. But most mock drafts have those guys going earlier. They have C.J. Anderson going to Atlanta, and they have Kayson. He's gone. He's not even around. Other options are that Kinslaw from South Carolina, although he does have issues with medical. They're talking about his hips and his back, but nothing can be confirmed. So the thing with this draft is you're taking a chance because you can't call these guys in. You can't review any of their stuff. You can't look at their tape. I mean, you can look at tape, but you can't get them on the field to actually work them out to see and have your own doctors look at them. So you're taking a gamble on all these things. Another option is they have them trading down and stockpiling second-round picks. They haven't taken Diggs.
That'd be a good one.
Diggs, AJ Terrell.
Diggs is good.
Yeah,
Diggs is good.
We need safety and we need cornerback.
I'll tell you what, if Diggs is there in the second round, it's a steal.
Yeah. Now I always watch the Eagles mock draft, and they have them taken in the first round. Definitely a receiver.
I'm intrigued to see what happens with the Eagles because there is lots of rumors that they want to trade up. There's rumors they have a team waiting for them to pick their player. But if their receiver is not there, there's also reports that they will trade down and get out of that first round.
But they have them. They have them like 4 different receivers. They have them looking at Ruggs. They have them looking at Judy. They have them looking at somebody else, and it wasn't a big name. It was I just saw it on the Bleacher Report, and I can't remember. It was from a different school. But the last thing that we saw was them possibly trading up to get CeeDee Lamb, which, oh my God, that would be freaking
terrible for that division.
Yeah. And then another option is, and I heard this from Howie Rosen himself on is one of the radio stations down there in Philly, that if the receiver isn't there that they want, they will trade out of the first round.
I would love, me personally, the Saints to trade up for a Judy or a Simmons that they've talked about getting. But I said this to you earlier, it would not shock me. It actually would make me pretty crazy excited if the Saints shocked everybody, they traded up, and they drafted a quarterback.
All right, I'm gonna see if we can get Tony.
Yeah, call somebody. Let's get somebody on the line here. We can get Tony on here and talk about the Eagles, who are potentially going to trade out of that first round. So, see what happens with that here in a minute.
No, I just messaged these guys. No, watch, they won't answer the camera shot.
How you doing, sir?
What's up, Tony?
How you doing?
I'm good. How about you guys?
Man, it's great. We actually have some kind of sports to talk about tonight. It's like a holiday.
Exactly.
All right, give us the rundown. Who you want drafted tonight?
Well, I want a wide receiver. I need one.
But that's definitely going to happen.
I need a wide receiver. I need a speed guy that can open up the top. Take that top off.
Well, did you see the last report? The last report they have the Eagles trading up, either trading up or somebody's going to pick CeeDee Lamb for them, and they're going to pick someone for that other team.
Yeah, that other team is San Diego, the Chargers at number 6.
That for me though is, I don't know how I feel about that because there's rumors the Chargers are trying to trade up, and I want to know why.
Well, from the report that I read this afternoon, at approximately 2:00, it said that they have a tentative agreement with Philadelphia to take CeeDee Lamb, but only if the cornerback that they want
Acuna
is off the board.
Gotcha.
And the only way Acuna is going to be off the board is if Detroit doesn't trade out of that spot, because Detroit wants him. But there's a lot of teams. A lot of teams are hitting up Detroit to give up that spot. Because let's face it, that spot is worth a lot of draft picks if they do trade out of that spot.
And guess who has a lot of draft picks?
Yeah,
Miami.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited. I'm excited to see who they pick.
They have a total of 14.
14, 3 in the first round.
3 in the first round.
That's awesome.
Well, the last rumor I heard about Detroit was Detroit and Miami were going to work on it. And this is just tentative. Nothing's final. But Miami wants to keep their 5th. So they want the 3rd and the 5th so they can go offensive tackle, quarterback, and they were going to give up their 2 picks later on. I think it's 18 and 30 30 or
18
something.
and I think
31.
29, I think.
I thought it was 30, something like that.
So they want to give up those 2 picks and possibly a 2nd or a 3rd rounder. But they want the key is they want that number 5 pick. They don't want to drop all the way down to 18. Now,
No,
I don't know.
and the reason why is because they'll still take Tua at 5.
But that's going to be interesting.
They'll take their left tackle at 3.
That's going to be interesting with Tua, though,
Because that's what they want. They want a left tackle first.
Yes, they do. They want that kid.
And
from,
the reason why was
the kid from
because
Alabama.
they traded Laramie Tunsil off in
to the Texans
this offseason.
Yeah. Now, would you agree with the Eagles that if, say they don't get a trade up and the receiver that they want is not on the board, willing to trade out of the first round to get some more draft picks?
Now, that's per Howie Roseman.
I'm not trading out of the first round, but I will trade back.
All right. So say, their star receiver's not there, you're God will, you can get some more second round picks, possibly get more receivers because there's a lot of receivers in this draft that you can get.
This is a boatload of wide receiver depth.
Yeah.
in this
So
draft.
you're saying you wouldn't want them to trade out of that first round?
No, I don't want them trading out of the first round at all. I
right.
want them to. Here's my scenario: if Philadelphia is on the clock and at number 21, and their guy is on the board, then you take the wide receiver that you want on the board. If not, you trade out of the 21 spot, move back to the 25th to 26th spot, get your linebacker,
Yep, they haven't taken a linebacker, too.
Patrick Queen,
Mm-hmm.
or Murray, either one, whoever's on the board, because I think Murray will go off the board first, and he'll probably go within, I would say, anywhere from 16 to 20, 21 within those 5 picks. I think that's where he's going to be slotted. But I would take Patrick Queen.
Now, every mock draft that I've seen with the Eagles, they have them either taking Ruggs or they have them taking Justin Jeffries at 21. And then I saw in the third round. I saw in the third round.
I don't want Justin Jefferson. Period. I want to stay away from him as with every ounce, every foot. I don't care. I don't want no part of him. And the reason why I don't want no part of him is because I think there's better talent than he is.
Yeah. Now,
I don't even think he was the best wide receiver on LSU's team.
No. Now I know you said you want a wide receiver, obviously, but let's say you're in the GM seat. Who are you taking at your pick? What guy do you think will make a difference for this team this year?
Would you ransom the farm to move up?
No,
I wouldn't either.
no. And the reason why I wouldn't is because there's too many wide receivers in this draft that you can get within second and third round, but you got to take the right one.
Absolutely.
If you're gonna do the second or third round, you need to take the absolute best one and stick to your board.
Well, I'll tell you what.
This
the thing that really
is a phenomenal draft.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
And the whole thing that's going to change it is whatever happens at that even the number 2 spot. Everyone has Chase Young going to Washington. But Washington, like I said, at Ty, has an amazing defensive line right now. They have a lot of options, and they need a lot of help otherwhere. They could take a lot of draft picks for that number 2 spot.
Yeah.
You know what's interesting? Too, just to throw in there real quick, is that there's so much offensive weapons in this draft, and I feel like so many people are focused on offensive help in that first round. I feel like you're going to get a lot of steals, a lot of gems in the second and third round pick of defensive players, cornerbacks, defensive ends.
You're absolutely right. You hit the nail on the head, Ty. This is going to be probably one of the most epic NFL drafts in a long time.
Yeah, you could possibly get first round talent in those second and third round
Now, hey,
picks.
The new mock draft that just came up, they have the Eagles taking Denzel Mims from Baylor.
And he's been one of their top guys that they've been talking to the most.
And I haven't heard nothing about this guy.
Denzel Mims. I'll tell you what. I looked him up. He's two people. One, Randy Moss. Two, Terrell Owens. Put together, complete clone.
Wow.
You know, the absolute, the most incredible thing that
he's over 6 foot. He's 200. I believe he's 220 some pounds, and can flat out fly.
You know what's floored me the most about the Eagles mock draft? They have them picking up Delpit from LSU in the 3rd round. I can't believe he's going to fall that far. That's a steal.
And the reason why I can see that happening, Chris, is because this is so much offensive firepower for tackles, for guards, centers, wide receivers, running backs, and you know exactly, there's going to go a run on quarterbacks.
Oh, yeah. And you know what? They're not even talking about from Georgia.
There's so many quarterbacks they're not talking about. I was before you came on, I was talking about Jalen Hurts. I feel like he's so underrated for some reason. 30 touchdowns, almost 4,000 passing yards, a good work ethic. Like, I don't know why he's not being talked about.
Probably because he left Alabama and went somewhere else.
But you got to think
went
too.
to
He didn't
Oklahoma.
play.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, he didn't play bad in Alabama though.
No, but
I think the whole him getting benched thing,
GMs,
I think that's taking a toll on him. I think people are looking at that.
I think GMs weigh a little bit with character. Now, I know, since I'm a fan of Philadelphia, they take a look at nothing but high quality character guys. And to me, I don't care if he has a character flaw. You know what? If I have the right people in my organization to take a guy that has had problems in the past, I will make sure that I will put the right people surrounding him to make better decisions.
Yeah.
Hey, Nick Saban just put on Twitter on ESPN that he hopes teams don't make the same mistake with Tua T that teams did with Drew Brees.
The thing with Drew Brees, though, is Drew Brees had one injury. Tua had a couple now.
No, they're saying, look how he turned out.
No,
Don't make
I know.
the mistake. Don't let the injury scare you.
But his injuries, I feel like, are a little bit more scary. The hip, the ankles.
But the thing is he's young. He healed fast. Everything looks good on him.
New medical stuff also. I mean, I guess you can look at it that way, too.
Well, look at one of his wide receivers. A lot of teams are now skeptical of Jerry Jeudy.
Yeah.
The other day was a report that he's got knee problems.
I like Jeudy.
Yeah, and that's the problem. We were talking about this earlier before you came on. These teams can't bring in players for workouts, and they're just going off of independent medical. So it's a risk. It's going to be a lot of teams taking risks this year.
Yeah, because you didn't get to have them in your building to do normal activities when they do come and visit for their top 30 people.
Yeah.
And that's when you do your own medical evaluation, not just the medical evaluation when they get their, from their pro day, and their medical evaluation when they do the combine. So you get your guys, your medical staff, being able to take a look at their medicals.
Yep.
Yep, absolutely.
So this virus has dampened a whole lot.
Oh, yeah.
No, it stopped the world. Let's face it.
It's killing people left and right. People are scared. They're afraid. This is a daunting task to be in our lifetime. Who would have ever thought that we would have to go to a grocery store and wear a mask?
Exactly.
I say it every time. I say it every time.
And now, certain stores
I
now,
wake up every morning. I have a routine. I need to make sure that everything's cleaned off before I get in my vehicle.
Yep.
I make sure that as soon as I get out of my vehicle and get into work, I have my gloves on, I have my mask on, I go through my day, I clean, I disinfect. As soon as I leave, I take my mask off, I take off my gloves, I wipe down my vehicle before I even get in.
Oh, you
And
have
then
to. You're close to that
soon
Jersey
as-
border.
It's crazy.
It's a crazy time we're living in.
It's absolutely crazy.
Well, hopefully sports comes
But I'm
back
glad
soon.
that we have some type of sports
Oh
to,
my God,
Anything, man,
to,
anything.
Dude, we're going nuts.
to do something. This will probably go down as the most watched NFL draft.
Well, I tell you what. You know what's going to top it next year? I mean, this year. Next year's going to top it next year because if they start college football in the spring, they'll be playing during the draft.
Yeah.
So you're going to have teams that are going to be
absolutely
like,
right.
you're going to have teams, players saying, well, you know, I'm going to get drafted, so I'm not playing the rest of this college season out. Because they already said they can't bring college football back until all the kids are in school.
Yeah, I never even thought about that. Oh my God, Chris. Yes, you're absolutely right.
Yeah. So next year's going to be even more interesting because you're going to have teams, college players that are saying, screw it, we're done. We're going to the draft. You know, and this is where if the XFL was smart, the XFL would come back next year because there's going to be a lot of college kids that are going to say, screw college, let's go play in the XFL for a season and then get drafted.
Yeah, but there's a lot of money that's involved in that with the
Doesn't
whole
matter.
coronavirus, and they were losing sales.
Doesn't matter. They file bankruptcy. They're going to reclaim a lot of that money. You know, you get some of these big college name players like the Lawrence kid, whatever his name is, and you get some of these
Trevor
big kids.
Lawrence.
You get these kids to say, you know what, I'll come play XFL and get paid for a season.
He's going pro.
Who will go pro? They're going to end up turning the XFL. They're going to force the hand of the XFL to be the minor league system for another year. And next year would be a big rebound for the XFL if they did it.
It would.
And there's a lot of people that are talking about that. You come back and you get these college kids to forgo college and come play with us for a year. That's going to be huge for them.
Especially that
Yeah,
college
and
season.
you know what? The XFL could probably end up, expanding to add more teams.
Oh yeah.
Especially college season doesn't get started at the right time, like you just said.
Because you can almost bank on it that they'll, that they could end up doing something with the NFL.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
Because look at baseball. Baseball is now, not to get off to another different topic, but baseball is now taking the minor league systems and going from 160 to 120
Yeah.
teams.
Yeah,
They're-
we were
they're
talking
dropping.
about that. We were talking about like that. How are those players going to get paid?
Well, there could be no minor league baseball this year, especially if they go to that 3-state deal where they use Florida, Texas, and Arizona. They're going to be using all those facilities. There's not going to be minor league baseball. They're going to, and I said to Ty, I said there has to be some sort of it because you have to have players in case players get injured.
Yeah.
Unless they open
Yeah.
up the rosters more, but you're not going to have
And-
you're not
and
going
I
to
would-
have single A and
I
no
would
A.
assume that they would open up the rosters more. They would probably end up taking instead of the 25 for Major League. I think they would probably take it to 40.
Yeah, but then are you exposing these players to more options to getting, sick? That's probably another thing that's going to that too. The more people in the dugout, more people traveling.
No, since you opened up that door, how about those Boston massholes getting off again, huh? New England, the state where you can cheat and get away with it.
That was nothing. That was nothing. A second round pick. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and the NBA, the MLB came out and said we found nothing wrong. Then why'd you take their second round pick away? Stupid. And then you know what the thing that really aggravates me is they waited till today, the night before the draft, to drop the bomb and say, "Oh yeah, this
Yeah.
is what they're getting," because they wanted to cover it up. And those Astros, don't forget, we didn't forget about you. As soon as you hit that field, we're booing the hell out of you.
Don't be a hater.
Yeah.
Don't be a hater.
All right, Tony. Well, we gotta get going.
You took that home run in stride. Chapman looked to the outfield immediately when Altuve hit that and looked and shook his head.
Well, it's like they knew it was coming. They were already beating the drum.
Correct. He knew that pitch was coming.
Oh,
he
yeah.
knew it.
Yeah. Next time they'll be inserting vibrators in the rear ends.
Who would have ever thought that he would have threw a changeup at that? Because at that point in time, with that that pitch count. He only throws that changeup 27% of the time.
Well, like I said, they were beating the victory drum, so he knew what was coming.
Yep.
All right, Tony, I hope the Eagles have a good
He was
draft.
tapping his chest. He was
Yeah.
tapping his chest.
I hope the Eagles have a good draft. Not really, but I hope for your sake they do.
I hope your Dallas Cowboys take a kicker in the first round.
Why not? We already signed our second one. Why not have a third one? All right, Tony, be safe.
All right, gents, you do the same.
All right, man, we'll talk to you later.
All right, bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Tony, for coming on. While he was talking, I saw a cop drive down a street with one of those like cop cars behind. That's like you can't really tell it's a cop car, but you see the antennas. And I see all the neighbors running down the street. I was like, oh man, what's going on?
It's
down
probably
there?
a Corona. It's probably a Corona like scam or something. They're going down to raid someone's house. Let's see if we can dial up Adam Miller. Adam, he's been dying to come on the podcast. He's another Eagles fan. We'll get him on, and
All the Eagles fans
gonna
are
get him
welcome.
on.
I'm intrigued, the Eagles Nation here. Let's hear what they got to say.
Hey, what's up, guys?
What's up, Mr. Miller? You finally make your debut on our show.
Congratulations.
I know, I'm excited. I've been waiting to talk some sports with you guys.
We had to bring the little brother of the NFL on. We just have one on now, so we'll bring the second one on. How's it going?
It's going. It's kind of tough with no sports and just hanging out, but just trying to pay attention to everything as much as possible.
I said this is like a holiday today. I mean, we've all been in this like 5 or 6 week, slump where we had no sports, nothing, and it's like,
Now I'm
God, the
excited.
floodgates
I'm so
are open.
excited, man. Got my jersey on.
It's great, and then on Sunday you get to watch the next 2 episodes of The Last Dance, so it's like a extended holiday.
Yeah, which was amazing documentary, by the way. Just
Oh,
got to
it's
throw
great.
that in.
Yeah, did you see over in Taiwan where they're actually playing baseball with no fans, but they put cardboard cutouts, mannequins, and robots playing drums in the crowd?
No, I didn't even see
Yeah,
that.
and they actually had their
That's
first
impressive.
bench clearing brawl. That's crazy. I wonder if they had to put masks on before they ran on the field.
All right, Mr. Miller, we had an Eagles fan on just before you, and a lot, just like most of the rumors and a lot of Eagles fans, receiver is definitely what a lot of people would like to take. If you were the man in the seat today, are you trading up, you trading down, or you taking a receiver or somebody else?
It's really tough. I wouldn't move too much because there's a lot of glaring holes for the Eagles. There's linebacker, they need cornerback, safety, but the top 3 guys are great: Jerry Jeudy, Henry Ruggs, CeeDee Lamb. So if they're available, maybe 3, 4, 5 picks ahead of them.
Yeah.
I would personally trade up, maybe get rid of a 4th round pick and maybe something for next year. But I wouldn't go too far and give up that 2nd round pick.
Yeah, and we were talking too. There's you could also sit back. There's a lot of good talent that you could get in the 2nd and 3rd rounds with how many receivers there are and how much defense there is too. Because there's a lot of people taking offense. So I think it's going to take one trade in the top 3 to screw everyone's mock draft up, and it's just going to be a crazy situation to happen.
Oh, I agree too. And me personally, I would like to see 2 wide receiver taken 1st round and 2nd round because I'm a big KJ Hamler guy, and they need. And to me, they're not a Super Bowl winning team this year, so they need to build up wide receiver and then keep filling holes, and then next year hit it hard, even defensively.
Well,
'Cause
hey,
they have a lot of glaring holes.
we are turning into like the worst division in football right now. I mean, we have a lot of unknowns. The Cowboys have a whole new coaching staff. Dak's holding out. He's not doing anything.
Giants
And
might draft a quarterback.
let's face it, the Cowboys had one of the best offenses in the world last year, and they couldn't even freaking win 10 games. So it's a perfect division to be in, with holes.
Yeah, it's in my opinion, it's a toss-up division at this point because last year, like you said, Cowboys were supposed to be great. They weren't really much. Eagles were supposed to be great. They weren't much. It all comes down to, in reality, the best of the worst at this point.
I'm going to have so much anxiety in my division this year with Tom Brady, Drew Brees, Matt Ryan, and freaking, what's his face? I can't, Teddy Bridgewater.
Yeah, that's a huge division.
Yeah.
I thought the Bucs went to maybe a 500 team, but with the addition of Gronk,
Yeah.
who knows what's going to happen with them? They could be top dogs again.
Yeah,
No.
we said the other day too is you have a lot of these teams every year that have amazing talent. Don't get me wrong, Tom Brady's the GOAT, but I want to see what happens. There's a lot of teams that are good on paper and then they struggle with that chemistry and then they just turn out to be average.
And I'll tell you what, everyone is sleeping on the Giants. I wouldn't sleep on the Giants, especially if they get an offensive tackle in this draft. They're starting to rebuild that line. You know, their defense is still weak, but if you have an offense that can score 20-plus points a game,
did it for many years.
you could hang, especially in that division.
Yeah, I think especially if they get an offensive tackle, they can definitely they could pop their name up again.
They
in
have
that
the
division
weapons.
for sure.
Offensively, they have great weapons.
Yeah, Sterling Shepard's there. Barkley, obviously.
Ingram,
when he's healthy, he's great.
don't they have Golden Tate?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the Eagles. I think the Eagles are in good shape. You know, if they get that good receiver to go with Jackson, I mean, you lost Aguilar. I don't believe Alshon's there anymore.
He's there, but
he?
he's not there.
Yeah.
You got a good tight end. You got a good running back going. You got a good quarterback. I like Wentz. Good man. It's just you need that other receiver. With Jackson's injuries.
But some of the mock drafts that I've seen with the Eagles, they have them getting a good receiver in the first round. They haven't taken multiple receivers in this draft, plus linebackers and cornerbacks. So
They have to take more than one receiver at this point because last year with all the guys coming off the practice squad, like they hit on some guys coming out of the practice squad, but they never really were that humongous game-changing wide receiver like some of these guys that are going to go in the first round are.
Yeah. Now, would you be disappointed? Say the Eagles went linebacker or cornerback with that first pick, and then 2 receivers after that.
I actually wouldn't because I do see linebacker as, in my opinion, it's like the biggest need that they have. But
Yeah, it's like the quarterback of the defensive
end.
end.
1A, 1B for linebacker.
Yeah, a linebacker is like the quarterback of the defense. You know, you need a good man out there.
Mm-hmm.
And I wouldn't be
For sure.
surprised if you see the Eagles do like New England did with a 2 tight end set, because you do have Dallas Goedert, who actually improved a lot.
Oh, he has. I think he's more athletic than Ertz, and he's willing to like get clobbered when he's running with the ball. Ertz, you sometimes see him kind of shy away from hits, but Goddard, no, he's young. He wants to be playing more. He doesn't mind getting hit and running.
Yeah,
So-
I think you risk your body a little bit more when you really want to get that starting point.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And they've even said, I've just been hearing things that like Ertz is still up on the market that could be traded, and Rasul Douglas. So they're trying to trade up. So I think that they have a wide receiver or someone in mind that they really want to get.
Yeah, I'm intrigued to see what happens. We were talking about before in the beginning of this episode, just how there's a lot of trades heating up right now, because I'm curious to see how the trades are going to happen with the whole virtual online mock draft, the draft, because they've had their problems with it while they were testing it. So I don't think you're going to see a lot of trades happen during it. I think it's all going to happen right before it.
Yeah, that's what I think. I think what is probably the case is some teams have these deals like in play. Like if someone drops to here, they'll give them a call and they're like, hey, do you still want to do this trade? I feel like there's stuff in play, but it's not set in stone unless the draft board kind of works its way into what the team wants to trade for. Because it's going to be tough. Like who knows? The whole broadcast could go down midway through the draft, and
Yeah.
Well, you see where
no live draft.
you see where those hackers have been hacking into Zoom and like interrupting people's like work conferences
Yeah.
and stuff. Could you imagine if someone like interrupts Roger Goodell while he's talking and like some naked lady pops up, or somebody shows up and starts cursing him out right there on live TV?
It's gonna be interesting, especially if something goes wrong. It's gonna be very interesting just to see it all happen and how they handle it.
Well, yeah, the Bengals in their like mock draft, I guess you would call it, they had problems, but I don't know what they're complaining about problems with. They're taking Joe Burrow.
I think that's why they made it official today, saying that they're
Because,
taking him.
Yeah, they tried picking him in that mock draft and it wouldn't go through.
Maybe that's a sign.
But you know what? I just don't understand at that point why they just don't use phones. You know what I mean? Pick up
Yeah.
the phone, call Roger Goodell, and say, "Hey, this is who we're taking."
Well, I think they did have phones, and they were also doing the Zoom calls. I think one of the problems they were having is picking up the phone and muting certain people, because like so many people were talking over each other.
But did you see all the rules that are in place for these guys that are going to be on live, like on their when they get drafted? They can't have any like Coca-Cola products. They can't have anything other than I believe it's Pepsi. Any memorabilia they have, it has to be sponsored by the NFL. Like
What
they're
the
really,
heck?
really being strict with these rules. You know who's going to make a lot of money tonight? All the IT guys that are on call.
Oh, I bet. Get a little bonus and stuff.
I mean,
help him out.
I forget which. I think it was. Is it Detroit that has an IT app? He's sleeping in a Winnebago in his driveway.
Yeah, I think it was Detroit. I heard that today too.
Why?
Which is
And
very
whose
interesting.
driveway?
In the GM's driveway. He's actually, they have a Winnebago they rented, and the IT guy.
I feel like you
is
have
sleeping.
to, man, because if
And
something goes down, who's
who-
there to help him?
Who was that other guy they talked about today? It's either the Jets owner or it was the GM of the Giants. They actually ripped the wall down in their house so he gets better reception, and he's got 30 TV screens in his room.
Jeez.
Oh my God!
Could
Yeah,
you could you
okay.
Go
imagine?
from a guy from that to Jerry Jones doing it himself.
Yeah.
Oh, we're not even going to discuss that.
Well, could you imagine? Could you imagine being an IT guy, right? And something goes wrong, and you're just like everyone. The whole weight of this draft is on your shoulders right now.
No,
You need to fix this.
Noah and I literally just had a whole argument about this about an hour ago. Jerry Jones is not, he's drafting by himself, meaning it's the first time ever he's going to be alone with no one with him. He's not doing the draft by himself. And I tried to explain that to Noah.
Wouldn't shock me.
They
Wouldn't
already
shock
had
me.
several test runs with him and his son Steven, Will McCray, and Mike McCarthy. They're all going to be on Zoom together. It's not like Jerry Jones said, screw you guys, I'm doing this one myself.
Could you imagine? Though? It wouldn't shock
And
me though.
Noah's like, well, it's on Bleacher Report. This is true. I listen to 105.3, the fan who has Brian Broaddus, who used to be a scout for the Cowboys, who's in the loop with them, and Mike Fisher and all them, who are right there at the Star. And they said, this is a crock of shit. It ain't happening. Jerry Jones is not doing the draft by himself. He's going to be alone without Steven for the first time ever.
So basically, that headline is basically just like a
It's a crock.
clickbait in a way.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely. But hey, since we have you on and we haven't had a chance to talk to you about baseball, it kind of sucks because that division, the NL East, was going to be really, really interesting, especially with Joe Girardi with the Phillies.
Good man. Good coach.
Yes, I'm very excited to have Joe Girardi because the last couple of years with I'm blanking on the coach's name.
Well, you not only got Joe
Gabe Kapler,
Girardi,
there we
you
go.
got Didi also.
Like, I don't know. I just feel like there was no accountability with Gabe Kapler, but now with Joe Girardi, I feel like that's someone that Harper and Hoskins and everyone will take a liking to and will realize that there's no screwing around.
No,
you have to
no.
come to play every game.
What's funny is he seems like he looks like a quiet guy, but I loved him as a coach. I was sad when he left Yankees. You know, you got Didi over there also, which is a good improvement for you guys. That team is loaded, honestly.
I just think that whole division, that is probably going to be one of the best divisions in baseball because
Besides Miami,
you
yeah.
have three teams, the Mets, the Phillies, and the Nationals, that could win that division.
Mm-hmm.
It's a scary division. Even as a Phillies fan, I'm not even hoping. I'm obviously hoping for playoffs, but I'm not pushing it out that they might miss it by like a half a game at this point.
You think about the wild card last year. There was 13 teams, I think, fighting for that wild card spot.
Yeah, the AL used to be the big cheese, and the NL is starting to creep its way up because a lot of the guys, they're getting more depth on their teams and their rosters.
Absolutely. I just hope the only thing I do hope is that they do come back, that they actually they play in their divisions, that they don't do what they're talking about, putting 10 teams in Florida, 10 teams in Texas, and 10 teams in Arizona.
I think that's the only way you're
Because
going to be able to do it, though.
It won't be an American and a National League. It's just going to be you're playing against each other, and then they're going to have like a tournament at the end or something like that, which is going to kind of suck because there's a lot of good teams in baseball this year, especially on the National
But then
League
you'd
side.
play everybody, though.
Yeah.
So it'd be
Yeah,
interesting.
because I saw one of the divisions would be like the Phillies, the Blue Jays, the Yankees,
And
so
the
it's
Pirates, something like that.
You're very like you're used to playing the same teams over and over that you kind of have that little knowledge of all their players. Now changing everything up, that's a whole new baseball.
Yeah, I would just put every division in their own state, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Adam, we're going to get going because we're trying to get this on before the draft actually starts, so it makes sense to people that listen to it. But we definitely want to have you on again because we like talking sports. I know you love talking sports. I've been trying to get Reinhardt to come on, but for some reason he doesn't want to come on. He doesn't answer. So I don't know if he thinks we're going to bash him with the Eagles, but we're actually, hey, we just like talking sports, and everyone has the right to their opinion. You guys like the Eagles. It's not that I hate the Eagles. I mean, I think it's just fun battling back and forth with you guys.
Yeah, there's a difference between being a sports fan and a sports homer. I like
Absolutely.
talking sports.
I'll tell you right now, the Cowboys suck. I mean, I don't care. I mean, we fight all the time about Dak Prescott. He does not deserve number one money when you're not a number one quarterback.
No.
100% agree.
All right, man. One more thing. I see Jeffrey Lurie is actually donating $1 million to the Philadelphia area for coronavirus. That is pretty freaking cool.
That's great.
It's awesome.
And the
actually.
Vikings owner is actually donating his third time. They're up to $5 million. It's nice. It's nice to see these organizations step up and help out.
I think you have to.
All right, Adam, we're going to let you go, but we'll definitely have you on again tonight. Not tonight, but we'll have you on again. And we hope the Eagles come through and fulfill your dreams, just not mine. I hope you guys pick a center with your first pick, and you guys suck and we do good. But, it just is what it is.
Yeah, well, thank you guys for having me on, and I hope you guys stay safe.
Absolutely,
you too,
man. You
Adam.
too.
Safe. I hope your family and everyone stays safe.
Thank you.
All right.
See you guys.
Later.
All right, bye. All right, so we have to wrap this podcast up just because my phone's going to die.
Well, I just want one more thing before I had a couple stats. One thing is as interesting to know about Tom Brady. He almost got arrested for jumping over a fence at a park.
Yeah.
He almost got killed for walking into someone's house without even knocking.
I was looking for the
Interesting
offensive
thing.
coordinator's house, and he walked. Imagine Tom Brady walking into your house. Oh, just let me get a photo. Let
And
me get a photo.
Another quick note: him and Gronkowski have been in talks for a while now about this whole thing coming back. He actually said when he talked to teams that it's going to be a package deal with Gronk coming back. So that actually worked out. And I had one interesting stat, and this was basically for Brad. And I don't know if I have it. Let me see.
Unbelievable.
Because I heard this, and it was interesting. And I don't know what I did with it. Oh, right here it is. This is interesting. This one's for you, Brad. You could take away all of Gretzky's goals in his career, and he would still have more points than any other player in the NHL right now.
Wow.
Oh, and another thing, the NHL is starting up in July.
Shocked.
And here's another good stat too, and this is more for baseball people. More men walked on the moon, 12 total, than runs given up by Mariano Rivera.
That's a crazy
in the
stat.
playoffs.
That's actually a crazy stat.
More men, 12 people walked on the moon. Mariano Rivera has only given up 11 runs in his career in the playoffs.
That's crazy.
Bang. And that's it, guys. Hopefully the Cowboys come through. It's going to be a late night. Early start for work, but late night watching the draft because the draft takes forever in the first round.
Hope everyone has a great day with the draft. It's happy draft day.
Draft day, it's great, and we'll have our reactions. And Sunday, we have a guest coming on Sunday. Can't wait for that.
Sunday and Tuesday, we're actually getting really involved with some athletes right now. We are being truly blessed right now with just the opportunity. As bad as this quarantine thing is, we are taking the full advantage of
If
it.
that's the only thing that you can thank the coronavirus for, I mean, I don't want to think a lot of people are dying of it, but athletes are actually opening up to us, which is pretty freaking cool.
So we hope you guys enjoy this. It's on Instagram. It's on Facebook page. We're going to be on all of our platforms: Spotify, Apple Music, Google Podcasts, Flickr, iHeartRadio. There's too many names.
And
There's
Alex
just too many.
Evans, all the Pittsburgh teams out there suck.
They suck. But we hope you guys have a good one. See you next time.
Stay safe.